This is Shelley Kraft coming to you live on SNNLive. We're at the 2016 LD Micro Invitational in Bel Air, California. I have with me David Cavalier of Aeolus Pharmaceuticals. It's a publicly traded company and the symbol is AOLS. David, welcome back to SNNLive.
Thanks very much, Shelley. Good to see you again.
It's good to have you. Let's start out with an overview of the company first.
Great. Well, we are both a biodefense and a biotechnology company developing treatments for exposure to high doses of radiation under a contract with the U.S. government. We also have our traditional biotech indications that come out of that are also funded partially by the government contract. In addition, we have development programs behind that for Parkinson's disease and for infectious disease.
So that's a wide range, actually.
It sure is. I think that what is fascinating about the company to me is that we use the biodefense contract. We have a $118 million contract with the U.S. government to develop our compounds for biothreats like radiation and chemical gases, but it leads into these large commercial indications like idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis and radiation oncology, and so we get a tremendous amount of support and funding from the government.
Did you know that going in, or was that something that you discovered while you were developing it?
Well, this is actually an interesting story because a lot of companies did start out trying to be in biodefense, but actually we were invited into the biodefense process by the U.S. government. Some work that was being done academically was discovered by the NIH. We did a tech briefing of them, and when we showed them our data on things like radiation oncology, they said, you really need to talk to us about the radiation exposure. So we ended up getting invited into a contract, which was something that was actually a bit serendipitous for us.
So here's my thinking. Homeland Security's got to love you. The Justice Department's got to love you. Department of Defense has to love you. When will this product be ready so that my listeners and viewers can sleep at night knowing it's out there?
Sure. Well, this is the interesting and exciting thing about the company right now is that we are in the midst of preparing. We're going to run a phase 1 safety study in the product at the end of this year. On the completion of that, we'll file what's called an emergency use authorization application, and that would put us in place to essentially sell drug to the government sometime in 2017, assuming a procurement comes out.
So I have to step back to the Parkinson's. You know, we had Muhammad Ali, Michael J. Fox. What are you doing in Parkinson's for patients?
So the Parkinson's program is actually very exciting. It's interesting you should mention Muhammad Ali because he did some work with the Michael J. Fox Foundation, and actually 114, our compound for Parkinson's, was developed in conjunction with Michael J. Fox. Fantastic organization. We're going to be putting that into the clinic next year. We'll also be looking potentially to partner that drug because we think there's a lot of interest in a brand new, novel approach to Parkinson's therapy.
And in cystic fibrosis, I mean, that's, you know, a chronic disease. Are you developing a treatment?
Sure. Well, interestingly, on cystic fibrosis, we're developing a drug that's really for the infection that cystic fibrosis patients get. They're very prone to infection. And this has dual applications, much like 10150, our lead compound, because the U.S. government's #1 priority is fighting infectious disease, and this is a novel approach to infectious disease. So we would be looking for both a traditional commercial development side and also potentially from government funding for the infectious disease side.
Where does all this science come from? Come on.
So the science was actually developed out of Duke University. There was a guy there named Erwin Fridovich who characterized the body's natural antioxidant superoxide dismutase, and these drugs were developed to mimic it and be a little bit more powerful, but essentially do the same function.
So we're sitting halfway through 2016. What are some of your milestones going forward? 2017, you know, tell me what you can.
Sure. So there's a lot of exciting stuff coming up. In about a month, we're going to be sitting down with BARDA, the Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority. That's our funding agency. We're going to be requesting additional funding for both our final manufacturing work and also for the phase 1 safety studies in radiation oncology and idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. We'll be initiating those studies at the end of the year. We're also looking at a potential NASDAQ uplisting, and we'll be looking in the beginning of next year to be putting 2 of these products, 114 and 415, into the clinic for Parkinson's and infectious disease.
What's your background?
I started out on the banking side at Goldman Sachs, then worked at Tiger Management, which is an old Julian Robertson hedge fund. And then I started doing biotech, and I ran a fund for years, and we were investors in Aeolus, and I liked it so much I became part of the company.
So you actually went over to the other side.
Yeah, and I have to say I really enjoy, I think we're doing some very important work, and I really enjoy the work.
If you would, please give us your website for our investor audience to get more information.
Sure. If you want more information, we're at www.aolsrx.com on the web.
Ladies and gentlemen, David Cavalier, Aeolus Pharmaceuticals. It's a publicly traded company, AOLS. I'm Shelley Kraft. This is SNNLive, and we're coming to you live from the 2016 LD Micro Invitational in Bel Air, California. David, I wish you luck. It's good to see you, and thank you for coming back on.
Great. Thanks, Shelley. Take care.
You're welcome.